is ANN News Brief.
Good morning, I'm Lucy Adeyemi. The Nigerian government has announced new service chiefs. President Muhammadu Buhari appointed new service chiefs, naming Major General Lucky Rabo as new Chief of Defense Staff, Major General Ibrahim Atahiru as Chief of Army Staff, Rear Admiral Awal Zubairu Gambo as Chief of Naval Staff, and Air Vice Marshal Isiaka Oladayo Amo as Chief of Air Staff. The previous armed forces chiefs had resigned without any explanation. They were appointed 6 years ago when Buhari first took office in 2015. This move comes as Nigeria continues to deal with issues of insecurity, kidnappings, and Boko Haram insurgency. Meanwhile, Presidential Special Advisor on Media and Publicity Femi Adesina, reacting to complaint of nepotism and non-inclusion of Igbo extraction in the appointment, said, appointment of security chiefs are not subject to federal character, but the ability to deliver. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has called out rich countries he claims are allegedly hoarding COVID-19 vaccines. Ramaphosa condemned so-called vaccine nationalism by the world's wealthiest countries in a virtual meeting of the World Economic Forum. He alleged some government had ordered far more coronavirus vaccines than they needed. He urged wealthy countries to stop hoarding excess COVID-19 vaccines that they ordered but did not immediately need. He said the world needed to act together to fight the pandemic. Without naming any countries, he appealed for the release of surplus stocks so that other countries could benefit. Ramaphosa, who currently chairs the African Union, said African countries wanted access to vaccines as quickly as other nations. South Africa's COVID outbreak is the worst in Africa, and the continent as a whole is struggling to secure sufficient vaccines to start continent-wide inoculation programs for its 1.3 billion people. Last week, the World Health Organization said unequal access risked becoming a catastrophic moral failure. South Africa, the worst-hit country on the continent, is yet to receive any vaccines. It hopes to receive its first 1 million doses of the AstraZeneca jab from India later this month. We'll be right back.
We are on the road every day, canvassing throughout Africa for news you really need. We follow this story everywhere, from every corner of Nigeria to the wide African expanse. We bring you what's making headlines. We connect you with news you can use. ANN, African News Network, in a truly African spirit.
Hundreds of Tunisians have taken to the streets in renewed protest. The demonstrations, first in the town of Zeptilia, were triggered by reports that an injured young man during last week's clashes, Hekel Rashid, had died. The man's family said he was hit by a tear gas canister. He had joined nationwide protests to mark the 10th anniversary of the Tunisian Revolution, which ushered in democracy and triggered the Arab Spring uprisings across the region. Soldiers were deployed to government buildings in the town after protesters tried to storm the police station. On Tuesday, Tunisian police blocked the path of hundreds of protesters who were trying to reach the parliament building in the capital, Tunis. It was the latest in a series of demonstrations that have been fueled by frustration at the lack of jobs and spiraling prices. More than 1,000 young protesters had been arrested during the previous protests, and many of the protesters on Tuesday were calling for their release. That is ANN News Brief at 11. For details on these and other breaking stories, visit our website, annafrica.news. Conversation continues on our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at ANN Africa TV. I'm Lucy Adeyemi.